The warm afternoon sun filtered through the canopy of oak trees lining the charming main street of Riverside, painting golden patches across the sidewalk where families strolled leisurely on this peaceful Saturday. 41-year-old Andrew Sullivan had brought his 4-year-old daughter Emma to town for their weekly tradition of browsing the local shops and sharing ice cream at the corner cafe. Andrew wore a casual navy blazer over khakis, his appearance reflecting the understated confidence of someone who had built considerable wealth through his technology company. But today, like every Saturday, he was simply a devoted father, spending precious time with the little girl who had become his entire world since his wife passed away 2 years earlier. Emma skipped alongside him in her favorite white sundress, decorated with tiny pink flowers, her blonde curls bouncing with each step and her small hand securely tucked in his. She chattered excitedly about the colorful shop windows and pointed out every dog they passed, her innocent joy infectious to everyone around them. "Daddy, can we look at the toy store?" Emma asked, tugging gently on Andrew's hand as they approached the familiar row of shops. "Of course, sweetheart," Andrew replied, his voice carrying the gentle warmth that was reserved exclusively for his daughter. "But remember, we are just looking today. We already have plenty of toys at home." Emma nodded solemnly, though her eyes sparkled with the anticipation of discovering new treasures behind the colorful storefront. As they approached the toy store, Andrew's phone began buzzing insistently in his pocket. He glanced at the screen and saw it was his business partner calling about an urgent matter that required immediate attention. "Emma, stay right here by the window while Daddy takes this call," Andrew said, positioning her carefully beside the large display window. "Do not move from this spot, okay?" Emma nodded and pressed her nose against the glass, completely absorbed by the elaborate dollhouse display that filled the window. Andrew stepped just a few feet away, keeping Emma in his peripheral vision, while he answered the call that would prove to be more complicated than expected. What started as a brief conversation stretched into several minutes as Andrew dealt with a client emergency that required his immediate guidance. He spoke in low, professional tones while keeping one eye on Emma, who remained captivated by the toys beyond the glass. But in the few moments when Andrew turned slightly to reference some documents on his phone, Emma's attention was captured by something even more interesting than the dollhouse. A small terrier had wandered away from its owner and was sniffing around the entrance to the neighboring bookstore, its tail wagging invitingly. With the impulsive curiosity that defines childhood, Emma took a few steps toward the friendly dog, then a few more, until she found herself several storefronts away from where her father had left her. The dog led her around the corner onto a quieter side street, and suddenly Emma realized she could no longer see the familiar toy store window or hear her father's voice. Fear crept into Emma's chest as she looked around the unfamiliar street, trying to remember which direction would take her back to Daddy. The buildings all looked similar, and the friendly dog had disappeared entirely. Emma's lower lip began to tremble as she felt the overwhelming panic that comes when a small child realizes they are truly lost. 26-year-old Sarah Martinez was walking home from the farmer's market, carrying a small bouquet of sunflowers she had purchased for her kitchen table, when she noticed the little girl standing alone on the sidewalk. Sarah wore a simple white blouse and tan skirt, her long blonde hair catching the afternoon light as she approached with careful, non-threatening steps. Sarah had grown up as the eldest of 5 children and had spent years working as a preschool teacher before recently starting her own small bakery. Her natural instincts with children, combined with her gentle demeanor, made her immediately recognize the signs of a frightened, lost child. "Hello, sweetheart," Sarah said softly, crouching down to Emma's eye level while maintaining a respectful distance. "Are you looking for someone?" Emma's eyes filled with tears as she nodded. "I cannot find my daddy. He was talking on his phone, and I saw a puppy, and now I do not know where he is." Sarah's heart went out to the obviously distressed child. "What is your name, honey?" "Emma," the little girl replied, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "Emma Sullivan. My daddy is Andrew, and he has dark hair, and he is very tall." "Well, Emma Sullivan, my name is Sarah, and I am going to help you find your daddy," Sarah said with the calm confidence that immediately began to soothe Emma's fears. "He must be looking for you right now, and I bet he is very worried." Sarah extended her hand, and Emma took it trustingly. "Let us walk back toward the main street and see if we can spot him. I bet he is not very far away." As they rounded the corner back onto the main thoroughfare, Sarah could see a man in a navy blazer moving frantically between storefronts, clearly searching for someone important. His face showed the particular kind of panic that belongs only to a parent who has lost sight of their child. "Is that your daddy?" Sarah asked, pointing toward Andrew. Emma's face lit up with relief and joy. "Yes, that is him!" Instead of simply calling out or immediately returning Emma to her father, Sarah knelt down beside the little girl one more time. What she whispered to Emma in that moment would change Andrew's understanding of human kindness forever. "Emma," Sarah said gently, her voice barely audible to anyone else, "I want you to remember something very important. There are good people everywhere in this world who will help you when you need it. But you must also remember to stay close to your daddy, because he loves you more than anything in the whole world, and losing you would break his heart." Sarah's words carried the wisdom of someone who understood both the innocence of childhood and the fierce protective love of a parent. She had recognized not just Emma's need for comfort, but Andrew's need for reassurance that his daughter understood the importance of safety. "Will you remember that?" Sarah asked. Emma nodded solemnly. "I will remember. Thank you for helping me find my daddy." Andrew spotted them at that moment and came running toward them with relief and gratitude written across his face. When he reached them, he immediately swept Emma into his arms, holding her tightly against his chest. "Emma, thank God you are safe," Andrew said, his voice thick with emotion. "I was so scared when I could not find you." "I am sorry, Daddy," Emma said into his shoulder. "I saw a puppy and I forgot to stay by the window. But Sarah helped me, and she told me something very important." Andrew looked at Sarah over Emma's head, seeing her gentle smile and the obvious care she had shown his daughter. "I cannot thank you enough," he said. "I do not know what I would have done if something had happened to her." "She is a wonderful little girl," Sarah replied, "and it is clear that she is very loved. Children sometimes get curious and wander off, but what matters is that she knew to look for help and that she trusted someone who wanted to keep her safe." Andrew set Emma down, but kept hold of her hand. "I am Andrew Sullivan, and this is Emma. I owe you more than I can express." "I am Sarah Martinez," she replied, "and you do not owe me anything. I was just glad I could help." "Please," Andrew said, "let me at least buy you coffee or dinner to thank you properly. What you did for Emma, the way you comforted her and brought her back safely, means everything to me." Sarah smiled warmly. "I would like that very much." As they walked toward the cafe together, Emma skipping between them while chattering about her adventure, Andrew found himself deeply impressed by Sarah's natural way with children and her genuine kindness toward strangers. Over coffee and Emma's ice cream, Andrew learned that Sarah had recently opened a small bakery specializing in children's birthday cakes and had previously worked as a preschool teacher. Sarah discovered that Andrew was a devoted single father who had restructured his entire life around Emma's needs and happiness. "What you whispered to Emma," Andrew said as their conversation continued. "About there being good people in the world who will help, but also about staying close to family because of love. That showed incredible wisdom. Most people would have just returned her without taking the time to teach her something important." "Children learn best when they feel safe and understood," Sarah replied. Emma was scared, but she was also curious about the world. I wanted her to keep that curiosity while also understanding that her safety matters to people who love her. 6 months later, Andrew and Sarah were married in a small ceremony in the same park where they had first met. Emma served as the flower girl, proudly telling anyone who would listen that Sarah was the kind lady who had helped her find her way home and who now helped her make cookies every Sunday. Andrew often reflected on how a moment of parental panic had led to the greatest blessing of his and Emma's lives. Sarah's gentle wisdom with Emma had revealed the kind of person he wanted as a partner in raising his daughter. Someone who understood that love means both nurturing a child's independence and teaching them the importance of staying connected to family. Sarah learned that the most meaningful relationships often begin with simple acts of kindness offered without expectation of reward. Her instinct to help a lost child had led her to the family she had always hoped to find. Emma grew up remembering that day as the moment when Sarah became part of their family, and she never forgot the lesson about there being good people in the world who will help when help is needed, but that the people who love us most are the ones we should always try to stay close to.